In tonight's Deep Dive, we're taking a closer look at an immigration case that made national headlines. As we mentioned earlier in this newscast, ABC News was on board the plane with 5-year-old Liam Ramos and his father as they returned home to Minnesota. The two now free from the detention center in Texas where they were held. Our Ike Ejiochi is on the ground in Minneapolis and spoke with the family's pastor. Ike?
Yeah, Andrew, Liam Ramos and Carlos Ramos are officially back here in Minneapolis, and that was really thanks to the help of DHH Church and Pastor Sergio. But in order to understand how that partnership got together, you really have to understand the work that the church has put in. You see, back in December, that church really started to notice the friction between federal agents and their church congregation community. Pastor Sergio and DHH Church decided to pivot. They essentially turned their church into a makeshift food pantry for the entire greater Minneapolis area, essentially stockpiling thousands of pounds of food, everything from rice, bread, even baby food, diapers, bottles, everything a family might need in this crazy time, as he put it in his own words. Now, when they were doing this outreach to the family, that's when we heard about the Ramos family and obviously 5-year-old Liam being detained. Take a listen.
I spoke with the mom. The mom explained to me everything that happened during the arrest. And obviously we called attorneys, we called the chief of police of Columbia Heights because we couldn't find the baby the 24 hours. So at that moment, we did not know whether the baby was with the father or not. And but thank God, we're getting good news.
And again, Liam and Carlos back here in Minneapolis, extremely thankful for the work and the help from DHH Church. Pastor Sergio and the entire church says that they will continue to provide the help for the Ramos family and provide them with the information they need to remain safe here in their city and in their home. Andrew?
Ike Ejiochi, thank you. Let's bring in ABC News legal contributor James Sample with more on the judge's ruling that led to Liam and his father being freed. James, the judge had strong words for the government here. What sticks out to you about his court order?
Andrew, first of all, one thing you almost never, ever see is a 3-page judicial opinion that cites, among other things, the Magna Carta, the Declaration of Independence, the iconic photo of a 5-year-old boy, 2 biblical verses, and yes, some law in there as well, the Fourth Amendment. This was a stunning rebuke of the government, not on the merits of the immigration matter, but rather on the lack of process. Judge Muir wrote quite simply, before the court is the petition of an asylum seeker and his 5-year-old son for, quote, protection of the great writ of habeas corpus. They seek nothing more than a modicum of due process and the rule of law, which is to say that this is not by any stretch of the imagination the final word on their immigration petition. It is, however, a statement that the government short-circuited the processes that the government is required to comply with, and the judge here had some very strong words for the administration, which he says implemented an incompetently implemented program through this particular individual's detention in Texas.
And so the boy and his father can now have their case proceed through an immigration court. What response do you expect from the Trump administration?
The first question from the Trump administration, the first step for the Trump administration to consider, and we've already seen them highlight the possibility of this, is they have the opportunity to appeal this order to put Liam and his father back in detention pending the immigration process. So the first question is really, are they going to appeal this habeas corpus decision? If they choose not to do that, or if they choose to do that and fail to succeed in that, there is still a very, very strong possibility that at least Liam's father, potentially both of them, maybe the whole family, will in fact face deportation. The judge in this case actually said that he, as a judge, and his court and other courts deport thousands and thousands of individuals every year. But the critical point here from an immigration law standpoint is that the administration keeps characterizing Liam and his father as illegal aliens. They have a petition for asylum, and America cannot hear often enough this fundamental point of law. If you are an asylum applicant released into the United States, you are present in the U.S. on a period of what is called under the law authorized stay. You are not, in that circumstance, an illegal alien. You might still ultimately be deported, but that language that the government is using is inappropriate and inaccurate.
So is a precedent being set here? Could this case change the way DHS and ICE approach future cases, especially involving children?
It's that last part, Andrew, that is particularly insightful in your question, which is to say that the judge demonstrated quite a bit of pique here. And I think a significant part of that is that there was no need to rush a 5-year-old 1,300 miles away to a detention facility in Texas in order to put them in a position where they lose the leverage, they lose their stability. This was a case that could have been handled in a more prudent and careful manner, particularly given that there were alternative individuals who had indicated a willingness to take custody, at least on a temporary basis, of this 5-year-old child.
All right, James Sample, thank you for that deep dive.